Good morning from Raoul's house. I've just got here this morning, and hopefully at some point today I can chisel the plaster around the outside of this and find the anchor points for this fireplace, because that's normally how they're mounted to a chimney breast, with bolts or screws, and then all this is plastered afterwards, of course. But hopefully if I get some time I'll be able to do that today. I'll try not to annoy the neighbours with too much noise, but got to be done. But today I'm back in the loft in part 3 of the wall light saga. So we'll go upstairs. Let's go and have a look. Right, first things first is get some heating on. So that's that. The heating should come on. No point in freezing. But it seems that the plaster that I put in last week, I did say I was going to give it a week's break, has gone off nicely. That's lovely and dry now. So tomorrow I can flat that down and put some filler plastering just to smooth that off. And the same up here by the light switch. You know, the sad thing about this is, as I've discovered with this one, that the original conduit, which was like a steel, same sort of shape, oval, steel conduit that went up in the wall, was not sufficient for anything more than one cable. So I had to put the wider stuff in, and as I've got 2 lights in this room, I used even wider stuff than that. Next door, in the next bedroom, there's going to be at least 3 or 4 light switches. Well, you've got to have different lighting in a main bedroom, haven't you? So that will have to be an even bigger conduit. But it just seems to be that I have to pull out almost every light channel, every back box, and redo the lot. But that's life. That's the way it goes. It's all got to be renewed. So first job is, let's get up in the loft. Mind you, one end is usually easier than the other, but if you look under there, see that conduit? That's that white stuff. There's one cable up, and I've just got to bring another through. But a bit tight under here because there's a board that runs right over this, but it doesn't matter. I can reroute that and give it a better route than the old cables run. Just a bit of a tidier job anyway. So right, we'll go downstairs and do the next one. Well, there we go. That was that, yeah, the one in the back bedroom. The back box, probably made in the 1950s, I think, something like that. But anyway, what I'm going to do, I've put a 25mm one in, which is quite deep. Fair bit of work chiselling that out. And I'll put some PVA glue in here, you know, around here, so that the plaster will bond to it okay. And I'll put in some bonding plaster, and that can go off overnight. That should make that nice and firm. So right, let's put some PVA on it. Yeah, bit of this stuff, PVA glue, especially woodworkers glue. And well, I've done it about 1 part PVA and 2 or 3 parts water it down, and then I'll just put the cup down and get a good dollop of that, and just completely soak all this plasterwork and brickwork behind. As I mentioned before, if you don't do this, the plaster will just fall out because the water will absorb it. So it's going to need 2 or 3 coats of that, and then we'll put some bonding plaster in here. Very important to get the wall nice and wet with this stuff. Otherwise you're wasting your time, as Maud Marriott would say. You're wasting your time. Yeah. So, and also important to get it off the wall, sponge it off the wall afterwards, so you don't want to be decorating over dried up PVA glue. So right, so we'll get a coat of that on, and then we'll start daubing the plastering. Right, that's the back box filled in. I'm not filling the whole thing in because I've got to run another cable down here yet. I should fill that bit in afterwards. But what I like to do when I put these back boxes in, although you get quite a firm fixing with screws and raw plugs, I don't know, in an old wall I don't completely trust it. So what I tend to do, because they've got these little knockouts, they've got those round the side as well, and if you just knock them in just slightly, when you come to plaster, the plaster will engage with it, and it just gives a well, extra grip, I guess. Make sure the socket doesn't come loose, then it just becomes part of the plaster. So that's that. And the tray that I mixed the plastering, I'll tell you what's good about these is because when you're finished and you see I've got all these bits of plaster left, well, here's a tip. The scraper or spatula or whatever you use to fill it, make sure you wash that out, but don't wash it out in the sink, because what happens is all the plaster accumulates in your waste trap, and next thing you know it'll set solid and you find your water isn't going out through the waste trap like it used to. But as far as these, to clean these are easy. I'll show you what you do. You just leave it to dry out, and then in the morning flip it over, give it a squeeze, all the old dry plaster will just fall out and it's all ready to use again. Great stuff, eh? So next job then is to run another cable down. So easiest way to get these cables through, get a little water sprayer. I'm doing this on the floor, I normally do it in the air. Just wet the cable down, just a bit of water and a bit of fairy liquid, and then you can be sure that the cable's going to slide up nice and easy. So I've got one in, way up she goes. Right, that's the second one pushed up, and it's come to a dead stop, so I know of, you know, the end will be up there somewhere. I'm going to have a look. Sorry, my camera's a bit wobbly. It's going to be under there, I'm sure. There we go. So I've just got to pull that one under the boards, and that's the two switch wires, and then I can plaster in that light switch, then finish the last bit. Pull that one up. I'm glad I've got these warp boards here, it makes it a lot easier. Right, pull that up. It's only got to reach the junction box, so that will probably be enough. Yeah, and there's the switch wire, and this cable here is the other one for the ceiling rose in that back bedroom. So I've just got to do that run, just connect all this lot together now. I've got to say, this is always the dodgy bit. Getting down. Honestly, you just can't be complacent going in and out of lofts. You just got to think of every step. And particularly because otherwise my other half will be moaning at me if I end up down there and she has to play nurse. Although I wouldn't mind. But yeah. Right, let's get out of here. And I'll do all the connections tomorrow, I would think. Makes sense. I've got a couple of things to do. I've got to drill a hole for a new ceiling rose, and do a bit more plastering. But what I want to do is have a go today at trying to loosen the fixings on that fireplace on the ground floor. Right, here we go. You know, the trouble with all of this, and my other half and I were talking about this yesterday, is that you do all this work and then you get everything flat and you get it painted, and no one sees what you did. You know, it's a bit soul destroying when you think, you know, I've been on this room almost a month, well, I don't know, 3 weeks, and well, it'll take 30 minutes to paint this room. It's yeah, it's just one of those things. But you know, I've learned from long ago that if you don't get your prep right, you're absolutely wasting your time. You cannot cover stuff with paint, it just doesn't work. So if you're going to do it, you've got to get it right and you've got to get it flat. And this is the only opportunity really, with this house gutted, to be able to do this kind of work, you know, and put in extra lights. Because to do it afterwards, well, just think of all the mess and dust. And I know she would not appreciate that. So, you know, get all this stuff done. But we are making good progress now. I had hoped to be sort of painting come the end of the week, but that looks like that'll be into next week now. Would you look at that? I've been in there since, I don't know, is it 1930s? Guessing. But look, I'll still undo them. That's not bad going, is it? So I'll get that one out and get the one out the other side and see if there's anything holding it further down. Might have to chip a little bit of plaster off. And then Well, I think I can hold the weight of that, goodness sake, it's not that thick. And then we'll lower it down, and hopefully we can get rid of that in a week or so. And then I'm left with a brick fireplace that I can actually start some work on, at least get the plastering done, and maybe get a mantling. I've got an idea for, you know, insetting a piece of oak on this and opening this fireplace up just a little bit. I mean, really, it's well, not many people have open fires these days. One or two have wood burners, but I think, you know, eventually they're going to become outlawed. So, you know, it is what it is. So it'd be a focal point. What I had in mind, actually, was a monitor screen playing a high definition real log fire. And hide the edge of the monitor screen so you can't actually see it's a monitor, but you can actually switch it on and it'll just loop for 8 or 9 hours with sound effects. Be quite nice, wouldn't it? Nothing to clean, at least. Right, let's get this off. A bit far gone, that one. Only one remedy for that: angle grinder. Right, here we go. Yeah, I don't think so. I think it was only anchored at the top. So I'm like about halfway through, so I thought I'd stop now and just show you where I am before I pull it down. Right, it looks like that's the fireplace. Looks like it's going to come out pretty clean as well. Although the fireplace itself is going to need quite a bit of repair, render, but that's all right. Still better than what was there. Right, here we go. Oh, that was fun. Heavy. I was hoping that was going to be a date, but alas, no. This is no archaeological dig. Anyway, I was right. There were no other fixings on the ones at the top, no. But it was embedded in the hearth, which I've just pulled it out. So then I've only got the hearth to get out then. That's all right. Well, you can kind of see what they did with the fireplace. They've narrowed it. And I had a feeling that the actual, I don't know, it's not a lint, I don't know what they call them in chimneys, is above this, because there seemed to be a mark in the plasterwork. And somebody else remarked on it, they thought it was higher. But that's all right, because what I can do is I can fill that with some much nicer bricks and make that quite a nice fireplace, and then just plaster up to it. Should look very good when it's done. So there's the fireplace. Bit of a job for Steve. Steve, my sister's husband, has offered to take this away. I think he's mad. Steve is heavy. But anyway, that's that. That's the fireplace. I'm really pleased with that. I was going to push this just a kind of spring, but I thought, let's get it out of the way, because when I do a muck mix, a cement mix, you know, I can start getting this and filling all the holes up again, and plastering as appropriate. And then I shall consult my other half on this, but I'm not sure. My idea is put an oak lintel in there, make a small sort of fireplace, and put a, like I say, put a monitor screen with the impression of a real fire, and still gives you the focal point, but with no fuss. But I think that's probably it for today, unless I think of anything else. So thanks for watching. This is Ralph's house. By the way, this is the mixing room. the front room. Yeah, this is where I keep all my sand, cement, plaster, and heaven knows what else. So that's it for today, and thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.